Hello, everybody. Welcome to our first NBA update. We're going to be doing these throughout the season. There's a lot to cover, but we thought we'd just go over the main points of what's been going on in the NBA season so far. Like we said before, NFL is almost over, so the NBA will be king again.
Yes,
No
sir.
shade to college basketball, but COVID's COVID. Sucks, but that's what it is. But the NBA has been persevering through a little bit of an outbreak, but getting back on track, and we are here to get you your first NBA update. If you haven't really been watching that much, that's fine. But we got you with what's been going on. Davis, how have you been feeling about the NBA so far?
It's just good to have it back, man. I'm actually way more into it than I thought I was. Like, I'm watching random games at night. Like, I've actually watched a decent amount of Warriors games because they're on at like 10:30 all the time.
Yeah.
But just look at the Sixers. Like, just to talk about them for like 10 seconds, they're our team. We watch them every single game. They're performing so well, and I'm just excited to see what happens. But a lot of big moves, a lot of good players going on right now, a lot of great performances. I think we started off with some of the teams because obviously we had our playoff predictions, and some of them are actually very similar. We have the same teams in there, but I mean, some teams, maybe not the majority of people talked about.
Yeah.
I put the Suns in there as my West. You put the Hawks. I think we both had the Pacers, but
these teams actually, I don't know. I don't know if we had the Pacers.
These teams are hot right now, though.
Yeah.
I mean, the Pacers alone, 8-4, and now getting Karis LeVert. I think he's going to be a good addition to that team, even though Oladipo's gone. The Suns, they were my favorite team, my favorite incline team coming into the year, and they are performing really well. Ayton and Paul just look, that just looks like a duo that you can't really mess with. And then you can't forget about Devin Booker, too. Ethan, I feel like these are your Hawks. What's going on with the Hawks?
They're not my Hawks, but I did like them. I did not like them whooping the shit out of the Eagles, the Sixers the other night when the Sixers were riddled with COVID issues. But yeah, they start off really hot. They were like 4-1 or something like that, and they had some tough losses, and that's fine. But they just lost Bogdanovich for a while. I think he broke his ankle or something like that. I don't really remember. But yeah, I mean, they're a young team. This is going to happen. Yeah. I still like them in the playoffs, and I like that they're going to get hotter and they're going to be a good team. But it just happens when you're like best couple players are all young. I know like Clint Capella is kind of up there, but he's still young too. And Trae Young, DeAndre Hunter, all young guys. And I think they'll only go up from here. But I mean, you can't expect them not to go through a cold start. I'm sure they're missing some people due to COVID too, but what it is.
I mean, hey, look, my rookie of the year pick, LaMelo Ball, is kind of working out so far. The Hornets, I'd say they're overperforming at 6 and 7. Like, they're in the playoffs right now. Like, people thought they were a bottom feeder team. LaMelo Ball, I'd assume for most people, is probably the rookie of the year right now. Ethan might have a hot take for that later. But I mean, you look at all these teams, you look at some guys that are overperforming. Maybe not overperforming, but
Gordon Hayward
playing really well. Gordon Hayward
deserves a ton of credit. I feel bad for him because he went through some bad years with the Celtics, and it looked like he might be the main scorer on that team when he got signed a couple of years ago. But I mean, when Jason Tatum becomes Jason Tatum, and then you sign or trade for Kemba Walker and Jaylen Brown takes that next step, I mean, it is what it is. But he looks like he's finding a nice little role. He's averaging 22 and 5 on the Hornets, being their lead scorer. I mean, watch out for the Hornets. I mean, they're playing good ball. LaMelo Ball, probably one of the front runners of the year for Rookie of the Year. I'm still in the Tyrese Maxey train. We'll get into that a little bit. Yeah. But they have a great couple guys who are all young guys. Terry Rozier, very underrated trade when they traded him to the Hornets from Boston for Kemba Walker. He's a great scorer, and he has those games where he'll go off. I think he had a 40-point game earlier this year.
Very beginning of the season.
They need to get better on defense, and a couple of guys need to contribute more. But watch out for the Hawks to maybe sneak in at that 8 seed. But one more thing on the Pacers. But yeah, like you said, they got Karis LeVert. They got rid of the expiring Oladipo. I take back anything bad I said about the Pacers for this year. I think they're going to be a good playoff team, and they're one piece away from being a finals contender. I mean, Sabonis, Brogdon, Karis LeVert, and you have a great surrounding cast of the Holiday brothers, Doug McDermott, who's a very underrated shooter in this league, TJ McConnell, Sixers legend.
Hell yeah.
I love the Pacers. I'm not going to love them when they play the Sixers because there are some really good games, and we always lose to them somehow. But
I mean, hey, another quick team I would probably want to put up there, I'd probably put the Knicks. I mean, 5 and 7, I'd say they're performing. And like I said before, all these teams have that one guy that's like overperforming right now. The Pacers have Sabonis. Julius Randle, you'll definitely hear us talk about him in a little bit. I mean, he is popping off for them. A lot of New York fans were not a fan of him, but coming into this year, he is on a hot start. But let's go on the other side of the train. We got the cold starts.
Yeah.
Look, I know people have mixed opinions on this, and I would have to say I was in the minority, but I was correct. The Wizards stink. Russell Westbrook's just not a fit for that team, even though Bradley Beal is playing really well for them.
I mean, Russ did just get hurt, but yeah, no, you're right.
The Wizards 3-8 right now. I'm pretty sure 2 of their wins are when Russell Westbrook is hurt or out. So I actually think the Wizards are playing better without Westbrook right now. I mean, their defense is just absolutely atrocious. They're second in allowing the most points in the league. I think the Wizards just they haven't figured it out. I think they might need some more rookies. They have Denny right now. He was a lottery pick. He's not really playing all that much, but I mean, there are a lot of other teams on here, like the Heat. People, this is an interesting cast of teams here.
It sure is. Also, sorry to the Wizards. They lost Thomas Bryant for the year. So he tore his ACL. That stinks. I mean, someone's going to have to step up, but not looking good for the Wizards. The Raptors, I mean, we kind of called it earlier in the year that they're going to have a tough start. They started 3-8. I mean, it sucks when you just lose all your veterans. I mean, they still have Kyle Lowry. Don't get me wrong. But, I mean, it's a young team who's inexperienced, and they lost their 2 big guys, and it's showing. They're still going to be competitive, I think. They could go on a big hot streak and maybe sneak in the playoffs, but not looking good for the Raptors. The Heat, I mean, they've just been riddled with COVID, and we saw that the last 2 nights. I mean, the Sixers beat them handedly last night, but the other night they took an OT. It sucks with COVID when, these Heat Sixers games could have been fantastic. Great games and a great test for the Sixers early, but unfortunately, not so much.
Yeah, I mean, the last 2 teams here are Rockets. I mean, clearly, if you haven't watched our episode yet, we did a James Harden exclusive episode. Definitely check that out. But the Rockets, even though they're underperforming right now, they definitely have a chance to pick that up without Harden. We saw them. They won last night. A lot of guys who aren't touching the ball as much are touching the ball now because Harden isn't there. I mean, you basically have to give 25 other shots to other guys now because Harden isn't there. But another team
should be good for production and
you'll hear us talk about Christian Wood too. The Timberwolves. I mean, on paper, this team looks legit. I mean, they have D'Angelo Russell, they have Karl-Anthony Towns, they have the number 1 pick in Anthony Edwards. It's just not working out for them. They're a bottom feeder right now in the West at 3-8. It's one of those times where you're playing 2K and you have the right guys on the team, but for some reason they just don't work out. I don't know. I think, and then maybe Ryan Saunders needs to make a change there at some point because at this point it doesn't look like the Timberwolves are going anywhere.
No, I know they missed Cat for a little bit, but you're right. I mean, they look good. D'Angelo Russell, I mean, he's a premier guard, and he's shown that he can be a really good point guard in this league. I mean, he single-handedly took the Nets to the playoffs a couple of years ago, and they were really exciting. Lost to the Sixers. Sorry, it happens. Yeah. But, they look good. Anthony Edwards, he's had some games that's like, wow, he should be the number 1 pick, and then he had a game 2 nights ago when he was 0 for 9 from the field and had 0 points. I mean, they could be good. They'd need a lot more help, though, and maybe Flip Sanders' son Ryan was not the best pick, but no hate.
No hate. What it is. This team, no matter what, this team is on the up. It's only up from here for the Timberwolves. But I mean, if you have any other teams, definitely comment them below. If we didn't get to your favorite team, definitely let us know who you want us to talk about. But let's go to some players. I mean, we'll start with the overperformers because we started with hot starts. I mean, these teams look familiar, right? Christian Wood, the Rockets, Brogdon, the Pacers, Randall, the Knicks. I mean, Christian Wood, I think, has a chance to be an all-star without Harden on this team.
Yeah, he can win Most Improved Player of the Year award as well. I mean, for a while he was just playing with Harden, who didn't want to be there, and I know Harden's comments the other night accelerated that trade, but I think it's good for Christian Wood that he's out. I mean, he's still going to share the ball with Wall and Oladipo now, but he should be the number 1 option. Honestly, he's averaging right now 23 points, and I'm looking right now. Do I see 17 rebounds? No, I do not. But he's averaging 9 rebounds. He's a great big man. He's on the Sixers G League team a couple of years ago, which sucks.
Yeah, it happens. It happens to the best of us. Speaking of the Sixers, Another guy, Malcolm Brogdon, stole the Rookie of the Year award from Joel Embiid in a lot of Sixers fans' minds. But he's popping off this year. I mean, he's solidifying to be the number one option in Indiana as a pure scorer. I mean, they have Domantas Sabonis. He's kind of doing everything right now, which is he's putting up like Jokic stats where, he's basically just popping off right now. And another guy, Julius Randle, Knicks. I mean, Knicks fans must be ecstatic to see Randle play like this. You have Emmanuel quickly off the bench who's playing really well.
He should start.
He should start. Obi Toppin hasn't been playing because of an injury, but he should be back real soon. And then Zach LaVine. I mean, Zach LaVine, a guy, he could be on the trade block if the Bulls keep playing the way they do. They're 4-7 right now at the making this video. I know a lot of Sixers fans want him here. People are trying to make some moves, maybe move Tobias Harris there to Chicago. Zach LaVine.
All right, let me talk about Julius Randle real quick before I get to Zach LaVine because I love Zach LaVine. Julius Randle, I mean, props to that guy. He's an all-star right now. No two questions about that. He's averaging 22.8 points per game, 10.8 rebounds, 6.8 assists. Davis, the years before this, his assist averages were like 3, 2, maybe 4, I think.
Right.
He's averaging almost 7 assists a game. That's crazy. Good for him for taking not just the next step as a player, but as a team player and figuring out he can do everything. He can score. He can shoot the three. He can shoot mid-range. He can rebound the ball. He can pass the ball. And for the Knicks right now, what they need is someone like that who can do everything, who can put the team on their back when they need it. I love the future of the Knicks right now, and I don't think I've been saying that for a long time. No one really has.
Right.
Shout out to a New York team who's doing the right things developmentally. I think Tibbs is the right coach to push these guys. Maybe not like take them far and go to the playoffs or anything, but I like them. I think you're right. Emmanuel Quickly is really good. But let's get to Zach LaVine. I love Zach LaVine. He's insane. Like absolutely insane. Third in the league in scoring, 27.7 points per game right now. I mean, no one can really stop him. He's averaging 5 rebounds, 6 or 4 assists. He's really good. I mean, he's just a dominant scorer, and half of that can be put towards maybe that's just him being on the Bulls. But Davis, if we're gonna trade for anybody, Bradley Beal will be awesome. But I saw something that the asking price for Bradley Beal will be just as high for James Harden. So I'd rather trade for Zach LaVine. Maybe Tobias and Matisse. Maybe just Ben. I don't know. A lot of things that could go.
I mean, this Bulls team, they're looking pretty good. Clearly bringing in Billy Donovan was the right decision. I know they're only 4-7 this year right now, but they have the chance to do big things in the future. And their young core looks pretty good. They still got Wendell Carter Jr. They got some other pieces. Kobe White.
Patrick Williams is a good rookie.
Patrick Williams, yeah. And he's coming out of nowhere. He didn't even start a game in college, and he was a top 5 pick. He was the 4th pick in the draft. And people were already calling him a bust, but he's looking solid right now. And he's shooting pretty well.
I got to add one more overperformer who deserves all the credit in the world. Jeremy Grant. He's averaging 25 points per game. Yep. That is crazy. He was a fringe, power forward starter on the Nuggets last year who was good, but, you weren't thinking anything of it. He's on the Detroit Pistons. Maybe he should have gone to a contender because he could be really good on a contender right now. But he's averaging 25 points per game on a very much lackluster Pistons team. So congrats to Jeremy Grant. I mean, he's defying all the odds, and it's great to see a guy like that. Also, former Sixer.
Yeah, former Sixer. We'll go to underperformers. It's kind of hard. I feel like this is more opinion-based. There definitely could be some more names up here. We'll definitely
start Giannis maybe, but he's
Giannis. We'll get to some of those guys in some later videos, but two guys that I feel like are right there, right in front of us. Ben Simmons. I mean, his scoring just has not been there. Even his facilitating hasn't been there. His numbers might be okay, but I mean, if you're watching him like a Sixers fan, you're getting frustrated with Ben Simmons. I know you're getting frustrated with him. Some people were very disappointed that we did not trade him for James Harden. I'm on the other side. I'm glad we didn't. But we could talk about Ben Simmons forever. I bet you $10 we'll do a Sixers video soon in the future. Sixers dedicated video.
I know I've had heated conversations with you guys and some of our other friends just about whether we should trade Ben Simmons. What about Ben Simmons? And I love him. He's one of my favorite players. He's dynamic as hell. he can be that guy. Like we just talked about with Julius Randle, who can do everything.
Yep.
But he's so frustrating to watch sometimes. Last night was good. He shot the three. He's starting to get a little bit more comfortable out there. He did triple-double last night. Can't hate that. But, yeah, you're right. It's like just watching him, it looks like he's afraid to go to the hoop sometimes. And he's a pass-first guy, which is like – it's hard to be like, why are you passing it? When we have all these shooters now who are doing really well.
Right.
But you're right, Davis. It is frustrating because he can – we've seen when like Joel's out of lineup and the team needs him to step up, he has in the past, and he's put up like 30-point triple doubles, and you're like, where is this guy? So it's a little disappointing
for sure. And then on the other side, Harden, obviously, definitely check out our last video if you want more details about it. But he clearly just kind of wanted out of Houston, it looked like, and hopefully he will be happy on the Nets. You know, as Sixers fans, we definitely want him to stay in the West, but you know it happens, and I'm happy for him that he got out and he's hopefully going to be in a better situation. But that team is deadly. Just, I mean, if they had Spencer Dinwiddie back, I think this team, you know, just
I think they would have traded him. But
the start of Harden, KD, and Kyrie Irving, I would say is probably the best big three maybe of all time. And they still have not played a game yet together.
I don't. You need to relax.
On paper, I think this is the greatest big three.
Saying, but let's take a step back. They are not better than MJ, Pippen, and Rodman. They are not better than LeBron, Bosh, and Wade. They are probably better than Durant, Steph, and Clay. And that's maybe – I mean, we have to watch them play first.
Exactly. Yeah,
I saw Charles Barkley said he went from the Splash Brothers to the Dribble Brothers. Yes, and I think that I love that, but I don't know, man.
Look, that's on paper,
a tough claim to back up at this current moment.
Just on paper, I think they definitely have to be in the conversation. But I mean, look, these are three unbelievable players, and we'll definitely have to do a Nets video in the future.
They will also play I don't know when you'll be watching this, but Saturday night they will be playing the Magic.
Yep.
And Kyrie will play. I think Harden's going to play. So we might see an early preview tomorrow night.
Yes, sir. We'll see. We'll go to some great performances of the year. You know, just with scoring, Beal and Curry are in the 60-point club. Beal did it against our Sixers, and Curry went up for 62. Is that right?
Yeah.
I mean, he popped off, and people were talking about how Steph couldn't carry that team, and it looks like he's doing it so far. I mean, you know, the Warriors 6-6, but if you look at that roster, other than Steph and Wiseman right now, Oubre is playing horrendous. Wiggins
he's stepping it up.
He's stepping it up. Wiggins hasn't been the guy that they really did want to trade for. I mean, he's solid, but you know, nothing crazy. This team,
he's averaging 17 points per game. That's pretty good. But
yeah, I mean, you know, former number one pick. I feel like, you know, maybe the Warriors would want a little bit more scoring out of him. But
they need more scoring. Yeah.
Let's not forget, they still have Klay Thompson out on injury. So this team next year and next few years could be deadly, especially if Wiseman keeps it up. He looks really good.
He looks really good. Did you see that poster last night? That was insane. But I love the Warriors. I love Curry and I love them. And let's give them a little credit. They've had a really tough schedule so far. They've had to play a couple hard teams. I mean, they played the Nets, then the Bucks, the first 2 games of the year. They played the Pacers, the Nuggets, the Clippers twice, the Trailblazers twice. I mean, they're doing the best they can, and I think once they get to an easy part of the schedule and they go on a big run and win a bunch of games, I will watch out for the Warriors to make the playoffs. I mean, Curry is playing like Curry. He's averaging 28 points per game. I love Curry. And Beal's also leading the league in scoring right now, 34 points per game.
Crazy.
I feel bad for him, but people who are on Twitter being like, we need to save Bradley Beal, get him out of Washington. He signed willingly a 2-year contract extension last year. There's no getting him out. He wanted to stay, and he will be done next year, but like he wanted to stay. We're not saving him, and the year he's having, I would like pray for any team that would try and trade for him because you're going to have to give up the farm.
For sure. Yep. I do think, you know, obviously us being Sixers fans, an honorable mention has to be Embiid's 40-plus point, 15-plus rebound performance. Single-handedly basically won that game against the Heat on Monday.
I mean, he did everything in overtime.
Yeah, he was unbelievable. But great way to wrap this up, Ethan. Our MVPs of the year so far, in no particular order. We got Joel Embiid, Steph Curry, Nikola Jokic, and Kevin Durant. 4 guys.
Because Embiid should be the MVP right now. Just saying.
Look, I would say it's a hot take because the media hates the Sixers. It's just a fact. And But I would agree. Embiid's playing the best year of his career so far. His efficiency is actually way over his career averages. But I think Joel Embiid is playing off the charts right now.
Yeah, Embiid deserves a lot of credit. Curry deserves credit too. I mean, this is extremely early. We need to make sure we're like letting people know that this is very early and we're just having fun with it. There's a lot of basketball to play, and the last two letters in MVP are valuable player. And
Yep.
if Curry keeps playing like this, but they missed the playoffs, you can't put him up there because the last, I think, 8 or something MVP winners have all been top 3 in their conference. Just like you told me the other day. I'm not stealing that stat from you. I remember that.
It's like the last 20, it's like the last 20 years. Like Russell Westbrook's the only guy that has been less than a 6 seed to win the MVP. Like all these, and most valuable player is for teams that they need value, and they're very good with that player. So it's hard to put a guy like Curry up there if they miss the playoffs, even though he's probably the most valuable player on that team.
Yeah. And when you're arguing for Embiid to be the MVP, it's like, all right, who's better, Embiid or Jokic? And that's a tough question to ask, and an even harder one to answer. But I mean, if you say Jokic is better than be like Embiid should win the MVP, it's hard to argue. It's a tough question, but Kevin Durant, I mean, he has not missed a step. I'm happy for him. I know people hated him when he went to the Warriors and called him the snake, and the burner accounts really like twisted him a lot. But I'm happy for him. He looks like the Slim Reaper still. He's a killer. He's still money from 3, and he's still the best player on that team. That's a hot take, kind of, because Harden's on there now.
I would agree.
Yeah, Durant's still. I mean, he was the best player in the world when he got hurt, and watch out for Durant to win the MVP this year because he could.
I totally agree. Ethan, I mean, the NBA is rolling right now. I mean, hopefully, this COVID stays away. I feel like it's just it's crazy to think about. I feel like it's really weird to think about how much it affected it last year and how they're kind of playing through it this year. It's just funny to see how far we've come so far, but hopefully it stays away a little bit. We're in love with the NBA right now.
Love with the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm so in love with them. But you're right. COVID sucks. Like, the Celtics are 7-3 in the top of the division, but they haven't played in a couple days. They should play tonight. Who knows?
Yep.
But they have a 2-game stretch coming up with the Sixers, both games on ESPN. I'm very excited for that. The Sixers are fun to watch. I watched it with my girlfriend last night. I was having fun. They look good. I'm really excited about the Sixers.
Yep.
I'm really excited about the NBA. Davis.
Ethan.
These updates will keep coming. We're going to keep giving Bachi Nation what they want.
Yes, sir. Boys, I mean, it's been a pleasure. If you want more content like this, definitely like and subscribe.
Also, let us know who should win the MVP in the comments because we could be wrong. We're just throwing names out.
Yep, throwing names out. That's all we do here. We throw names out. We have our educated guesses and all this prediction stuff. We want to hear what you want to say.
Yeah, let us know.
Boys, it's been a pleasure. Ethan, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Yeah. Hit those post notifications, you MFers, please.
Yes, sir. And we will catch you on the flip-flop.
Wait. You're editing this, right?
I am.
Make sure you bleep that. Okay.
Yep, will do.
Yeah, sorry, Grandma.
Peace out.
See ya.